Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some very fun spice in the Open Great League featuring XL AMAURA. Now Aurorus has seen some play in the Great League and Ultra League before, but I haven't really seen anyone run XL AMAURA. XL AMAURA has the same typing, Ice and Rock, and for the moveset it's running Powder Snow, Weather Ball, and Thunderbolt. I paired it up with a meta core of Defense Deoxys and Shadow Wall Rain, and went 7-3 with the team at 3100 elo. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out XL AMAURA in the Great League. Hopping to the first match, leading Defense Deoxys into Shadow Dragonair. I'm going to stay in this matchup, go for the Psycho Boost to guarantee either massive damage or, more likely, shield advantage, and then I can save switch into Wall Rain. In comes Wall Rain, opponent banks a Body Slam for later, and they send in Defense Deoxys. I need to bait out the counter user as counter would hit for double super effective into AMAURA. I'm farming up, I fall just short of the Icicle Spear as the opponent is going to fire off the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt will get rid of the Wall Rain, but now I can bring in my own Deoxys, KO theirs, and be in an okay spot with a shield advantage AMAURA in the endgame. I'm farming up to the Thunderbolt, but my Deoxys loses CMP to theirs. That is a pretty big misplay by me, so now I'm going to have to try and play around it. I'm going to go for an undercharge on the Thunderbolt here. This is going to leave them in perfect counter down range for the Deoxys, and now hopefully I can make a Psycho Boost first to Dragonair. Dragonair will have to throw if they want to try and deny the energy. Dragonair goes for the farm down, and that's going to cost them. Deoxys makes the Psycho Boost. Psycho Boost grabs the final shield. In comes XL AMAURA. AMAURA farming up, but will have to respect the super effective damage from the Shadow Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail number 1 will be shielded. AMAURA will be hit with Aqua Tail number 2, and the final shield will be deployed. The question is, what does the opponent have in the back? And it's a Lickitung. You have got to be kidding me. This is not looking good for AMAURA. Lickitung, of course, has Power Whip, which will hit for super effective damage. I'm spamming off as many Weather Balls as I can possibly get to. Weather Ball is going to connect into the Lickitung. I make it to another Weather Ball, and they should just about be at the Power Whip here. So I'm going to throw the Weather Ball, wait a turn, switch and catch onto the Deoxys, and with that, the game is won. I can send in AMAURA. AMAURA will make it to the Weather Ball, neutralizing the Lickitung, and all that's left in the back is the very low health Dragonair. XL AMAURA takes down the Dragonair, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Defense Deoxys into Charizard. Honestly, this entire team does pretty well into flying types. I'm going to stay in with the Deoxys, and I'm actually going to throw the Psycho Boost one before the Thunderbolt. Now this is a potential Rock Slide. The opponent is going to respect it with a shield, and now I save switch into Wall Rain, and my opponent is going to send in Lantern. Lantern farming up. Lantern actually ends up over farming there. They could have gone for the Thunderbolt to potentially put pressure on a shield, but instead they let the Earthquake through, and honestly, I'm more than happy to let this go. I was able to basically KO the Lantern, and now this is perfect farm down range for AMAURA. Let's see, they're probably not going to want to send in the Charizard. The Charizard does have energy though. Opponent is going to send in Chestnut as their final Pokemon. Now Icicle Spear will hit for super effective damage, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to KO. I farm up, switch into Deoxys, and Deoxys will be hit with a Frenzy Plant from the Chestnut. This will not KO. I'm going to go for the Psycho Boost, anticipating the switch into the Charizard. I need to get damage onto the Zard, as this can potentially put it into farm down range for the AMAURA. Charizard looking to overfarm as much as possible. They have so much energy here, and so does the Chestnut. Honestly, I think I have to call a bait to win. So you know what? Let's risk it. I no shield, it's the Dragon Claw, and with that, the game is won, as I can now shield this move from the Charizard and commit to the farm down. Opponent sends in the Chestnut. They cannot double up as we secure the win. Picking up a neutral lead in the next match, Defense Deoxys into Noctowl. I have 2 better responses in the back, so I save switch into my Wall Rain, and my opponent is going to respond with Defense Deoxys. I'm farming up and firing off the Icicle Spear. Shadow Icicle Spear does a lot of damage to the Deoxys. Deoxys opts, instead of going for the Thunderbolt, to just continue to farm, and that's going to allow me to force a shield here. And now with shield advantage, Wall Rain's in a pretty nice spot. They still have to throw to get rid of me, and now I'm just in a spot where I have shield advantage, which honestly works out great for me. My Deoxys is still full health, so my plan is to overfarm as much as possible, and honestly, I may even be able to counter all the way down. Countering down would be absolutely massive. Let's see what my opponent wants to do. I'm looking for the farm down. Opponent firing off another charge move. This works for me. I'm just going to fully counter down. They make the Thunderbolt aggressive switch into the Noctowl, and I'm firing off the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is going to deal some solid damage. I'm going for Thunderbolt number 2, but Deoxys loses CMP. That's fine. I'm just going to let the Deoxys go and go for the 1 shield Powder Snow down with XL AMAURA. This way, I leave with a massive amount of energy, so even if it isn't the greatest matchup in the back, at the very least, I'll have a massive energy head start, and the wing attacks do basically no damage. So I get the full farm down. Opponent still does have a catch remaining with the Deoxys. In the back, they have Swampert. Okay, this is not a great matchup. I have to watch for the catch. Opponent goes for the catch, and failing the catch should secure the win here, as AMAURA should be able to get to 3 more Weather Balls. This will get them low, and now I have 2 more Weather Balls loaded, guaranteeing the win. 1 for the shield from the Swampert, and the remaining Weather Ball to secure the win. XL AMAURA taking down the Swampert, and that's game over. We see a neutral lead again in the next match, Defense Deoxys into Lantern. I'm going to be staying in this matchup, as Lantern is a bit of a nuisance for my backline. I go for the Thunderbolt, and I end up losing CMP to the Lantern. Lantern will fire off the Thunderbolt, so you know what? I may as well fire off a Thunderbolt of my own here. This will get some solid chip damage. Let's see what the opponent is doing. They're going to send in Noctowl, and this is a flyer meta, so having a lot of answers to flying types often proves to be quite advantageous. Icicle Spear does massive damage to the Noctowl. Noctowl is only getting 1 charge move here, so they should be going for the Shadow Ball. Noctowl goes for the Sky Attack, hoping to make it to the back-to-back, but that's not going to happen. And now my opponent probably going to be sending in the Lantern, and here I make a pretty big misplay. I thought that I wasn't going to be able to make it to the Earthquake, so I end up going for the Icicle Spear, but as you're going to see, I could have made the Earthquake, but what I cannot make is another Spear. So I've now not only not threatened to shield, but given them a massive farm down, but thankfully in the back, they have Altaria, and I have XL AMAURA to absolutely destroy it. Weather Ball gets shielded. Altaria continuing to farm. They're firing off a charge move. They're just going to be going for the Sky Attacks here, as the Dragon Breaths do a lot of neutral damage. AMAURA, definitely not the tankiest. I am just shy of the back-to-back here. I'm firing off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball will be shielded, and from here, this is a very comfortable win con for me. I can just shield up, Powder Snow down, and then land the Thunderbolt onto that Lantern. Opponent sends in the Lantern, and it's all over as AMAURA KOs with the Thunderbolt, and that's a good game. We see a fairly neutral lead again in the next match, Defense Deoxys into Shadow A9. Opponent is running Charm on the A9, so I'm definitely happy to see this here, as Charm, not the best for my backline, but then they safe switch into a Shadow Gliscor, and that's just getting deleted by Shadow Walrein. Icicle Spear gets shielded. I will respect the potential Earthquake here, as that could potentially flip the matchup, Shadow on Shadow. They Night Slash, they boost, and this still will not KO, but unfortunately it will cost me a lot of HP, as Night Slash, when boosted, hits quite hard onto Shadow Walrein. I am ready and prepared to throw the Icicle Spear at whatever comes in, but my opponent actually fires off a charge move of their own. They go for the Weather Ball from the A9, and I can send back in Deoxys, and Deoxys is absolutely loaded on energy since they failed the Thunderbolt catch. I'm able to grab a shield from the A9, and now I'm firing off the Psycho Boost. This will not KO, but it will get them quite low. In the back, oh no, they have a Quagsire. This is not what I was hoping to see. Quagsire, of course, can't hit for super effective damage with Mud Bomb or Stone Edge. I think the play is I have to try and no shield and hope they Mud Bomb, as it does less than a Stone Edge. Opponent Mud Bombs, that hits incredibly hard, and they're going for another Mud Bomb here. I'm going to shield. I have to hope that by a second Weather Ball and some Powder Snows, I can get it into counter down range for the Deoxys. So I'm going to be firing off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball will get the Quagsire low. Quagsire with the perfect overfarm throw in just before I make the Weather Ball. Mud Bomb will KO. Can Deoxys counter down? Deoxys gets the perfect farm down and leaves with the Psycho Boost. Psycho Boost is going to be taking care of the low health Shadow A9, and that's game over. Speaking of Quag, we see it on the lead in the next match. This is definitely where I want to see the Quagsire, but when my opponent save switches into a Golisopod, honestly, I don't want to see this anywhere on this team. Golisopod was a definite oversight when team building, and it's going to cost me. I'm just going for the Psycho Boost here. It is enough for a potential Rock Slide. Opponent will shield it, and now I'm going to send in AMAURA. AMAURA will take massive super effective damage from liquidation, so I will commit the shield, and thanks to the shield advantage that I have, I'm going to be able to overfarm and make it to the Thunderbolt, which will be lethal. I did take a defense drop from the liquidation, which is a bit unfortunate, so I get rid of the Golisopod, but now dealing with this Quagsire is going to be problematic. I'm going to be firing off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball will be no-shielded by the Quagsire. Quagsire massively overfarming and letting me get to another Weather Ball. Honestly, this is fine by me. Weather Ball will get them low. I'm expecting them to throw, so I switch into the Wall Rain. I'm hoping that by saving the AMAURA, I can win in the endgame here. But my happiness is short-lived, as there's an XL Carbink here to just farm down my entire team. My one win con is landing the Earthquake here. Carbink shields it, and I just can't output enough damage. My team is all in the yellow health, so I'm just going to get destroyed here, unfortunately, as Carbink has so much energy. They're going to be firing off the Rock Slide here, as this is honestly just Rock Slide range. They don't even have to Moonblast. I'm farming up. My only hope is maybe Thunderbolt into Psycho Boost and hope that my opponent tries to farm down, but as you're going to see, they do not let that happen. They just go for the Rock Slide. That will KO, and AMAURA just can't do enough damage here, as XL Carbink is way too tanky. XL Carbink, officially the destroyer of fun, as it farms down my AMAURA. We've got a fun pick from the opponent on the lead as we lead Deoxys into Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff, definitely one of the more underrated updates in this season's move pool, as now it has access to Disarming Voice. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of desync there to start. I end up throwing the Thunderbolt here, just hoping that it ends up being on good timing, and I'm going for the Psycho Boost. This will be lethal. Opponent will have to shield if they want to keep this energy, and they do. So I'm just going to let the Deoxys go. Disarming Voice will be lethal from this range, and now I can just send in the Wall Rain to get an energy head start. Let's see what they have in the back. Opponent sends in a Sand Slash. Honestly, I was a little worried about surviving a Drill Run here. In hindsight, I definitely live a Drill Run, and I end up shielding an Ice Punch bait. You have got to be kidding me. Earthquake, at the very least, will get the shield back, and the nice thing is I have an energy lead and shield advantage, so even if they bait twice, I should still be okay here. An opponent does bait twice. Oh my goodness. I'm going to wait a turn and go for the Earthquake to try and ensure that they're not able to catch. So Earthquake will one-shot in the back. They have Shadow Gliscor. I saw so many Gliscors in the 3100s. It was a really good day to run Double Ice, and XL AMAURA KOs the Gliscor. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Defense Deoxys into Dugong. I am definitely happy to see the Dugong here. Opponent save switches into their own Deoxys, and this is honestly a bit uncomfortable. My backline gets shredded by Deoxys, so I have to stay in here, and that means that Dugong is going to be a very big problem for my backline later in the game. The nice thing is since they switched in and I threw first, I will always be one counter ahead in this matchup, so I can guarantee being able to get rid of the Deoxys. I'm firing off the Thunderbolt here. Thunderbolt is going to be getting them low, but I will still need a Psycho Boost to get rid of them. I continue to farm up here, and I'm hoping that I can snipe with a Powder Snow from the Wall Rain, but as you're going to see, I get one turn switch, and they do get the Psycho Boost there. I should have kept in mind that since I snuck a full counter, I'm guaranteed to get the one turn swap. And as you're going to see, that cost me big time, as I take way too much damage on the Shadow Wall Rain, and I'm now in a range where a Drill Run will actually threaten a KO. That's incredibly bad, because AMAURA takes massive super effective damage from Drill Run. They go for the Drill Run, that barely does not KO, but I cannot make it to that Earthquake, and now I basically just lose. Honestly, in hindsight, maybe I should have just tried to call an Icy Wind bait here, but I end up shielding, and guess what? They bait. So I'm in an incredibly bad spot. Opponent firing off another charge move here. I shield, and I end up shielding two baits. You have got to be kidding me. I'm going for the Thunderbolt at this point. They're probably just saving shields for whatever they have in the back. They no shield in the back. It's a 2-shield Charmer, and I resign the match. Hopping into the final match, leading Defense Deoxys into Swampert. I do plan on save switching out of here, but first, I'm going to go for the ever-present Psycho Boost and Dip. It's one of the reasons why I love Deoxys lead so much, as its ability to Psycho Boost and then reset the debuff by switching out is just absolutely unparalleled. My opponent is going to counter switch into a Galarian Stunfisk. Stunfisk does need 2 Rock Slides to KO here. They're going to fire off the Rock Slide. I'm looking to overfarm with the Wall Rain. You know what? I'm going for a bait. It's a risky bait, but I'm hoping it will pay off, and it does as I get a shield from the Stunfisk. Very precise overfarm by my opponent, throwing the Rock Slide just before I make the Earthquake. I'm going to to commit the shield, I'm going to overfarm as well, go for the Earthquake, playing to the CMP tie with the Rock Slide. Earthquake is going to KO the Stunfisk as my opponent holds on to their final shield. In comes the Swampert, and picture perfect energy awareness by my opponent as they go for the Hydro, winning CMP over my Icicle Spear. Farming up with the Deoxys, going for the Psycho Boost, and guess who's in back? It's another Gliscor. Enter stage right, AMAURA. AMAURA will get the full farm down. Gliscor falls short of the Earthquake, and there's just nothing they can do at this point. Tanking that Night Slash like it's nothing. Back in comes the Swampert. Swampert lets the Weather Ball through, and that's a good game. All in all, I had an absolute blast getting to run XL AMAURA. As I mentioned, I was able to go 7-3 with it around 3100 elo, so the team honestly worked out pretty okay. If you're looking to potentially make a climbing team out of it, of course there are stronger options than AMAURA, potentially running either Dugong or XL Alolan Sandslash, as they have better coverage into steel types. But I was lucky enough to get the lucky hundo AMAURA, so I figured may as well use a bunch of XL candies and see how it performs. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.